Hello, I'm Robin, and this is my journey up the Adriatic coast. This summer I decided to challenge myself, to spend some time alone and do some things that I'd never done.
Is it wrong for me to be scared?
You join me on the first part of my journey, an overnight ferry from Bari in Italy to Igoumenitsa in Greece, where my journey would begin.
That's what I'm fighting, but I believe you make your own luck in life, as long as you know.
Been in Greece for 35 seconds, and this is the road already. Gravel tyres. Very good decision.
But I'm still having fun, so catch me at the party in the Mardi Gras. Everybody charged off to Charlie, given half a chance. You could probably tell your life story.
The first day of my journey was an absolute blast, partly down to the 35-degree heat and partly down to the people that I met along the way. This goat herder shared some grapes with me before giving me safe passage through his herd. For those who are interested, I'm riding a 1996 Condor Heritage with gravel tyres and a 1x10 setup, although I'll go through my setup in more detail later. As I began my journey across the Albanian border, I was immediately struck by the architecture. Brutalist buildings left over from its time away from the world littered the landscape, as well as newer buildings following the same style.
You're battered and broke is temporary relief. I'd encourage you to find the release. I never said that it was coming with ease. Look, anyway, even though I reflect and I meditate, I'm sure that there's plenty more mistakes that I'm gonna make. Plenty more mistakes that I'm gonna make. Yeah, I'm sure that there's plenty more mistakes that I'm gonna make. Like, plenty more mistakes that I'm gonna make. I'm sure there'll be.
As I passed through into Albania, I found that the landscape was scattered with derelict buildings. These made a perfect playground and often a perfect camping spot.
Charlie, given half a chance, you could probably tell your life story, but I can't be asked, so I guess I'll see you in the morning, but I'm still having fun, so
Being from the famously flat county of Suffolk, I hadn't really ridden many hills or mountains before, so this was a shock to my body, and soon the monotony of mountain climbing began to set in.
There is actual consequence to falling off, and I slightly regret this now because, well, the sea is about, what's that, 150 metres below me, 200 metres, so I still have a lot of descent to do, and this is very, very hard.
As the days went by, I began to find a routine, either camping in little campsites, often in car parks, or on industrial sites, or wild camping. I passed many fire-scorched hills and burnt-out buildings. I spoke to some locals, who informed me that this was always a problem, but in recent years has become a much more ubiquitous issue.
Found a cable car. It goes across to a residence in the middle of this. These are each 700 to 800 meters, and that's probably a 100-meter drop. And there's a cable car held onto that. Landslides caused this weird kind of mini tepui formations. Crazy. Hello. I just went down probably the most intense descent I've ever done, and I was leaning and I could feel the tyres gripping. And then there was one corner at the end of which was a cliff, and my rear wheel just slipped a tiny bit, only a few inches maybe, and I stopped braking and then managed to control it. But Jesus, this is dodgy on a bicycle. I have one last massive climb coming, and I think it would actually be the biggest climb of the whole trip. Rain. Yeah. There's no way to practice for this in England at all. One of the stranger things about cycling like this is that you can see exactly what you're going to have to do before you get there. So each one of those little zigzags going up that point is a road that I'm going to have to cycle up. Hee hee. I've been climbing this mountain for over half an hour, but I had to stop halfway and I followed some wild dogs again because that storm came through and it was, well, you couldn't see. Damn cool path to the campsite, but it's very sandy and much like most of Albania, covered in litter. This is ironic because it's called eco camping. Let me not litter. I've had one shower since I arrived, and I think you can tell. I didn't really know how to feel about travelling alone. I've been spending about 6-7 hours of riding a day, and then maybe another 3 or 4 hours of breaks. So I've been on my bike most of the time. But it has actually been, so far, absolutely fine. I've got my book, I've got my thoughts, I talk to myself. My dad does the same thing. Yeah, it's nice. By this point in my journey, I'd begun to find quite a rhythm. Regularly swimming in the sea helped me keep my thoughts clear. I didn't pack any swimming trunks or a towel, so I often found myself at nudist beaches. This was another new experience for me, and it was quite refreshing. I had met some cyclists going in the opposite direction to me. However, I found 2 Dutch cyclists named Jan and Lucas who were riding in the same direction as me. So we stuck together for 2 or 3 days. They were on their way to Austria with quite a specific time deadline, as they had studies and work to get back to. They were a lot faster than me, but it was nice to keep up with them. After World War II, a socialist government was installed in Albania, and gradually the country cut itself off from the non-socialist international community, and eventually from all other countries, including China. By 1990, economic hardship
led to anti-government demonstrations that led to the election of a non-communist government in 1992 and the end of Albania's international isolation. Proof of the country's history and isolation was scattered all over the country. The former leader decided that there should be one bunker to every 9 people in the population, and many of these bunkers have survived to this day, some being painted as murals and some just being left to erode. As a cyclist, I'm very weary on the roads wherever I am, but I've never been accepted onto the road as freely as I was in Albania. Most drivers treated me with respect, and some even stopped to offer me water and food, or just to ask about my journey. I would highly recommend a trip to the Albanian coast, for anyone just looking for some sun, or looking for some adventure. Join me as my journey continues up into Montenegro, Croatia, Slovenia and back to Italy. Thanks very much for watching the first stage of my journey. I'll be releasing another video, possibly in a week, maybe in a couple of months.